Hello, everyone, and welcome to Season 7, Episode 35 of Pro Wrestling's Top 50. I'm your host, Travis McNeil, and today we continue our countdown of the top 50 matches in CHIKARA history with a very famous match. This is number 16 on our list. It is the Rey de Voladores qualifying match. It was a four-way elimination between El Generico, Kota Ibushi, Jigsaw, and Nick Jackson from the CHIKARA King of Trios 2009 Night 2 event held on March the 28th of 2009. This is a match that if you follow CHIKARA, you know this match, you probably love this match, and I'm sure you were expecting it at some point on the countdown, so here it is. And this match, I've had a very, I'll say, strange relationship with it. When it happened in 2009, it got a ton of hype surrounding it. When I watched it, when the King of Trios 2009 DVDs dropped, I thought it was, lots of fun and good, but I don't think it resonated quite as well with me personally as it did with everybody that was there live and a lot of the viewers watching the DVD when it came out. And watching this match now, 13, 14 years later, it really shows how times have changed. So for me, watching this match in 2009, I was, super well exposed to Kota Ibushi. I remember seeing him for the first time in Dragon Door, and I think I've mentioned this with him before. We, didn't know how his name was supposed to be pronounced. Was it Kota Ibushi? Was it Kota Ifushi with an F? Was it Ibushi Kota, Ifushi Kota? We had no idea, but we knew that he was a really, really talented performer. Ultimately, we would see him grow through DDT, and, the thing that's really strange about this is, even if I wasn't exposed to Kota, through the whole, Japanese wrestling tape trading community, just being a fan of United States independent wrestling, there's a possibility that I would have seen him when he made appearances for Ring of Honor about a year before King of Trios in the spring of 2008. Kota Ibushi appeared in Ring of Honor. He had 4 matches. He wrestled Davey Richards, El Generico, who he would meet again in this contest, Claudio Castagnoli, and also a tag team match where he would team with Austin Aries against the Briscoe brothers. 4 really great matches, specifically the one with Generico in Chicago was one that got a lot of hype. But this is where times have changed. Nowadays, if a match happens and it gets any buzz whatsoever, you are probably able to see it within a day or two of it happening, unless you're Pro Wrestling Guerrilla, who still releases, DVDs and Blu-rays. But for most promotions, we have that instant gratification from it. But watching, this match now and seeing the crowd explode and react and realizing that, this was the first time that a lot of this audience probably saw Kota Ibushi, it really goes to show how back in the day, if you wanted to see everything or if you wanted to see these hyped matches, you were either, in that tape trading community or you were purchasing DVDs at $20 a pop. I remember I had, all 4 of those Ring of Honor DVDs that I purchased, officially from Ring of Honor at the time because I really wanted to see those matches. But again, that wasn't viable for all of these wrestling fans, and it wouldn't be viable for me nowadays. I've got a home and I've got a family and children and, all of these financial obligations. I can't be spending, thousands upon thousands of dollars a year on wrestling footage like I was able to, back, in my late teens, early adulthood that I was throughout, the early 2000s. So just an absolutely incredible, changing of the times where, when this match came out, I was like, okay, that was cool, but like, everybody was going nuts online about the Generico and Ibushi sequence, and I saw them have, a whole full-form singles match against each other, but now knowing how, spoiled I was and how lucky I was to be able to see those matches at the time, knowing that that wasn't the case for everybody, really puts this match in a new perspective. This is a match where, watching it so many years later, we've seen all of this from all of these guys, and all of these performers have grown so much from this point in 2009. Nick Jackson, in 2009, the Young Bucks were really still on the come up, and, ultimately they would go on to be, in my humble opinion, one of the best tag teams of all time. You had El Generico, who at this point in 2009 was kind of establishing himself as, a Mr. Dependable on the independents, that he could have a great match with anybody. But still, we would see so much growth for him, both as El Generico and later as Sami Zayn. Kota Ibushi at this point, like I said, was still, relatively unknown to a lot of the audience seeing him at CHIKARA, this weekend for King of Trios. And now, we would see him be an IWGP World Heavyweight Champion and win the G1 and have the matches and the team with Kenny Omega and all the fantastic stuff that he would do in his career. And then there was Jigsaw, who, a little bit of a travesty that Jigsaw maybe doesn't have the recognition that, all of these other guys, do. He's somebody that has appeared so many times on this countdown already and will appear so many more times on this countdown before it's through. Just a legendary CHIKARA performer that never really got his big breaks on the independent scene that I feel that he should have. So, you think of that with all four of these guys, and you watch this match, which is relatively short. It's under 15 minutes. It's a total, sprint almost the entire way through. But you know what these guys have grown into and what they've become. So you watch it now, and it's kind of just a taste of that. But at the same time, this is a match you can put on and just watch and have fun with over and over and over again. I've seen this match so many times, and every time I still enjoy it. So it's kind of one of those weird matches where it, maybe doesn't hold up for a lot of people the way it did at the time. For me personally, it maybe holds up a little bit better than what I thought it was at the time, but it is one of those matches that you can just watch all of the time. A great little comfort match of four incredibly talented performers in front of an amazingly hot crowd in the ECW arena from a golden age period of independent wrestling. So it's really good stuff. This match, like I said, it is fast-paced all the way through. You get all of these little, sequences at the start where everybody kind of mixes it up with everybody. You get a little taste of Ibushi and Generico, just a little bit to whet the appetite of the audience, and commentary even puts it over as being, the matchup that I think a lot of people want to see. We get a little bit of a slowdown period where Nick Jackson and El Generico kind of start to work in tandem. They were partners as part of Team PWG in King of Trios tournament, along with Nick's brother Matt. So, we see them kind of team together and do some clever takes on a lot of signature Young Bucks offense, which was really fun. Eventually, their relationship breaks down, which, if it were any other match, I would maybe be annoyed at. It's an elimination match. It doesn't make sense for guys to start fighting over pinfalls. But at the same time, this match is short enough and action-packed enough. I don't have time to really think about that, so I'm easily able to let it go. And it leads into this moment where Kota Ibushi comes in and hits this wild, cartwheel Pele kick to Generico, who's seated on the top rope, knocks him to the floor, and Jigsaw immediately follows that up with a big tope to Generico. And then Ibushi, takes out Nick with all of his signature kick combos and the big triangle moonsault. And from that point on, this match does not let up. It's balls to the wall for the rest of it. Just so much cool stuff. Everybody gets a moment or a chance to shine with big offense. I love offense where one wrestler is able to, creatively take out multiple guys. Jigsaw gets a moment here where he hits a double stomp off the top, off Nick Jackson's back, and, springs off of his back into a Hurricane Rana on Generico, which was amazing. Nick hits the slingshot X Factor into the ring, and then, goes back through the ropes into the moonsault out to somebody on the floor, and then climbs back up top and comes back in with a 450. Just really, really cool, taking out all three guys. The crowd really starts to heat up here, and there's a moment with Generico where, again, he gets his moment in the sun of taking everybody out. He gets a big Fosbury flop onto Nick Jackson, and then immediately follows that up with the, I call it the thread the needle, tornado DDT on the floor, where he dives between the bottom and middle turnbuckle while outside onto Jigsaw, and then comes back in and hits a big haluva kick and a half-and-half suplex on Ibushi for 2. We finally get the big moment between Generico and Ibushi. They trade, boots to the face and head kicks, and they, go forehead to forehead, and it's really intense and really great. And then Ibushi, he gets his moment in the sun where he, kips up to dodge a boot to the face and hits his big head kick and a great German suplex on Generico for 2. Goes for the moonsault off the top, and Generico rolls out of the way, so he lands on his feet and hits that follow-up moonsault. I want to call it a double moonsault, but, Ricochet and other guys do that Starly double moonsault. But you know what I'm talking about. It's super cool. It's, again, just offense that was so unique at the time. Ibushi, really a trendsetter for a lot of that stuff. And again, you have a crowd that's, seemingly unfamiliar with him, just exploding for what they're seeing. The eliminations in this match, because it is short, they all do kind of come somewhat rapid fire at the end, which normally I wouldn't be a big fan of, but again, in this match, it works because they're all really, really cool. Generico goes for the turnbuckle brainbuster on Ibushi. That gets countered into a super reverse Rana for 3. We see poison Ranas, reverse Ranas from the top, from the apron, all of this stuff all of the time now. But again, in 2009, you didn't see it nearly as much. So really big, really crazy spot. Jigsaw gets a really quick elimination on Nick Jackson where he counters a tornado DDT into the Jig and Tonic for 3. And we get, a minute or 2 at the end of Jigsaw and Kota, which was a really smart pairing, letting Jigsaw get to shine with, the international superstar. The crowd was, big time behind Kota Ibushi, really being blown away by him. But then you get the Chikara faithful that kind of rallies Jigsaw. So you get this fun kind of dueling chant atmosphere for the end. Just really great big moves. Jigsaw hits a big Hangman's DDT that spikes Kota on his head. Jig and Tonic gets countered to a German suplex, and Jigsaw fighting spirits up from that, but then gets hit for a dragon suplex for 2. And finally, it's the Phoenix Splash from Kota Ibushi for 3 that puts him away. We get a big standing ovation from the crowd. All 4 guys come out in the ring together and take their bow. Very, very well deserved. This match, King of Trios 2009 was really, I feel like, a shift for CHIKARA. They'd gained a lot of popularity, in 2005 and in 2006 through the Tag World Grand Prix tournament. That would eventually shift into King of Trios in 07 and 08, but it was really this 2009 King of Trios tournament with this huge influx of international talent, guys like Bryan Danielson, legends like Johnny Saint, and everybody coming together for this tournament that I really felt kick CHIKARA into a higher gear and really start an amazing momentum that they would have, from this point all the way up until, the period where there was no CHIKARA, right? That period, after Anniversario Never Compromise, where it seemed like the promotion was done, and then eventually came back for the restart. But for a lot of people, this is Golden Age CHIKARA. I've said before, my Golden Age is the Kings of Wrestling era, so a little bit past that, but I really, really fondly look back on this era just the same. I really fondly look back at King of Trios 2009 weekend. Could not wait for the DVDs for this to drop, hearing all of the live reports, especially about this match. So, I use the term comfort match or comfort wrestling, but, King of Trios 09, it really is just, you can throw all 3 nights on there and just sit through and watch them and find yourself laughing or being excited or just marveling at the collection of wrestlers in there. And to me, that is what CHIKARA is all about, this great melting pot of all of the best wrestling from all over the world coming together. This match, of course, you can watch on independentwrestling.tv. It's also available for free on YouTube, which is super cool, so I'll link that on my Twitter account. Speaking of which, you can follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Wrestling50. Subscribe to the channel here on YouTube so that you never miss a video, and please join me again next time as we continue to count down Pro Wrestling's Top 50.